After their years-long ugly divorce battle was seemingly winding down, now reports are coming in saying that Angelina Jolie is planning to pen a devastating tell-all book about Brad Pitt. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. Those who've watched this channel regularly know that we've covered this divorce case in great detail. We've had celebrity divorce lawyer Christopher Melcher on, who's broken this case down and reporting this in detail. It sure seems to me that Angelina is having trouble of letting this thing go. Every step of the way, there's just more extensions and more issues and more complaining about incidents that happened in the past. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Brad Pitt really is the good guy, the bad guy. Who knows? All I know is what Chris has told me, and I agree with it. This is not good for the kids. At a certain point, you got to let it go. And this divorce battle turned into now a business battle where she's she's saying Brad Pitt has backed her into a corner regarding this winery legal battle, but she's the one who caused the issue. She sold it to one of his biggest competitors. That's what's so frustrating is as we've reported on this case, which you can go find out there, she sold it 50% of her share to this winery, to the Stoli Group, which is owned by Russian oligarch Yuri Sheffer. This was clearly against what Brad Pitt would have wanted. Basically, she sold it her share to a competitor, which is a problem for Brad, who wanted to keep his winery as his business. He then had to sue her, saying the secret sale violated the verbal agreement that neither would sell without the other's consent. But she went and did it. And she knew in selling to this Stoli guy that it was going to cause drama. And to me, those types of actions this many years later don't make me side with you. It make me frustrated that can you please be an adult and move on already? The fact that she has seemingly aimed her kids against Pitt, where they all now are just think he's a monster. One might say, well, that's evidence that Pitt is a monster, or it's evidence that she has alienated the kids against him. And maybe he did have some bad parts. The real crux of this whole case has always stemmed from this allegation on an airplane. There was an airplane incident where he allegedly pushed her against the wall. There's other thoughts that he grabbed one of the kids by the neck and pushed one down. It sounds ugly, but the police investigated it. There was never an investigation. I mean, there was never any sort of, the investigation found that there was never any charges and Pitt was never charged, and that was never proven. Doesn't mean there wasn't an altercation in that plane. What happened there clearly doesn't sound like it was lovely, but it also doesn't sound like it was criminal. And whatever it was caused the divorce, the final steps of the divorce for Brad and Angelina to end. Now, Pitt has been, admitted an alcoholic. He has admitted to working on his issues. And to me, to continue to go after this man, to keep alienating his own kids, to do all this for the amount of time that they've done is pretty gross. I'll be honest. I don't like it. Now, Pitt backed her out of buying her out because she wouldn't sign a non-disclosure agreement designed to force her silence about his abuse and cover-up. In court documents on the 30th, he claims that the businessman, the Stoli Group, refused to turn over relevant private text messages about the sale. Wouldn't that be interesting to see? Was this all spiteful? Angelina's always held off on an expose because she values her privacy, but Brad's backing her into a corner. The more money he drains from her in legal bills, the more money she's going to need. What? You sold it to his competitor. If you wanted to be out of it, sell it to him. Why didn't you just sell it to him? Or sell it to somebody else, or let him know who you're selling to, and now you're blaming him for legal bills? I can't stand people who make the custody, divorce, or legal arrangements more complicated than play the victim. It's like, if you want to be done with this, if you don't want the winery, follow the obligation and make sure that it's sold normally so he can go on and do what he wants and you make your money, and then everyone's happy. Why can't we be grown adults anymore? It's so clear she wants revenge, is what it's really constantly feels like here. The offers she gets to share her side of the story are massive. It's feasible that she could make $50 million or more on a book deal because there's so much interest in her. It would be a disaster for Brad if she does do this. He managed to recover his reputation, but if she goes for the jugular and tells all, the public may not be so forgiving. Well, that's the reports now. Would she actually do that? Now, it's interesting because more reports are coming in about Gwyneth's relationship with Brad, and the new biography that we've also reported on that's come out. It's an unauthorized biography, where allegedly one of her team members, I think it was the wardrobe or makeup person, this Kevin Aucoin, was concerned that Brad Pitt was emotionally her, and that's what surfaced in the biography. Now, disclaimer. Claims that about Brad and Gwen come from Amy Odell's unauthorized biography. Paltrow herself has not accused Pitt of this. In fact, we're going to go through and prove she's actually said the opposite. References to Angelina Jolie and Pitt are sourced through the court filings. Pitt has denied those allegations. But this is what's so interesting about this piece is they're going in there and breaking down like the fact that her legendary makeup artist, a close friend of hers, voiced concerns that Pitt was emotionally and verbally not a nice guy to Paltrow during their relationship. Now, this is, again, hearsay through another contact. This is sort of alleged in the new biography. It also isn't very positive to her. She's like, which movie do you want to do? Seven or Feeling Minnesota? Well, who do you want to date? Brad Pitt or Keanu Reeves? It's almost plays like, yeah, she was always calculating and doing this herself, knowing I'm going to be Brad Pitt's girlfriend. But she also speaks very highly of him, reporting on the fact that it was love at first sight, looking at the things that she's saying. And in Howard Stern, she talks about how, this was in 2018, how gorgeous and sweet, I wasn't ready, he was too good for me, she said at the time. She praised him for coming to her defense when he threatened Harvey Weinstein, whom she accused of SHing her and bullying her. He said, if you ever make her feel uncomfortable again, I'll unalive you. She recalled Pitt telling Weinstein, it was so fantastic. He leveraged his fame and power to protect me at a time when I didn't have fame or power yet. Now, this is her as an adult looking back at the relationship, and she could have chosen to just not said anything, right? She could have said, it was what it was and moved on and played but she chose in an interview setting to lift up and praise her ex. So I don't buy this. Just because some makeup artist felt like maybe he was being mean to her, maybe they were having disagreements. I need to know more specifics before I'm going to buy this account. But now, because there's an account from a hearsay of a witness to a witness, they're now connecting it to Angelina. Of course, they're now trying to connect it and leave it to Vulture. Leave it to Vulture to really go for the jugular against Brad. Brad Pitt is fooling you by Angelica Jade. In a recent appearance on Armchair, his graying blonde hair shaved into a buzz evoking Troy and Mrs. Smith era. He wears light wash jeans. Blah, 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 lengthy shadow. He discovers his early career woes and navigating his shift in Hollywood. They talk about truth and honesty. His time in Alcoholics Anonymous, where he met Dax Shepard. That's why he did the art. I'm afraid to ask you this one, but here we are. Have you ever heard this Cary Grant quote? Blah, 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 blah. His carefully choreographed press tour for F1, the movie, says otherwise. I don't think about perception anymore. Continuing his work with crisis management publicist Matthew, who represented Johnny Depp. And this article incorrectly then said this person also repped Justin Baldoni and the White House and Trump's White House, but then had to correct it. There's a correction note. Pitt has made a concerted effort to reestablish himself as an emblem of unaffected, undiluted movie star with just a hint of vulnerability. Yet he's struggled with alcoholism, but he's overcome it. His 30-something girlfriend has been positioned as a breezy, agreeable, and unlike his ex, he wants you to forget, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the whole point here is that this is all to obscure, if not outright bury, the alleged particulars of his behavior towards ex-wife Angelina Jolie. Pitt has been so successful in his rehabilitation, most of the public doesn't even understand what he's trying to rehabilitate himself. You mean incidents from 2016? So like 10 years ago incident in a divorce battle that's contentious, that the police deemed wasn't chargeable and not a crime, but we're supposed to define him from this moment in a divorce where emotions are highest, and we're supposed to pick sides in that and just say, screw Brad Pitt. He can't make any movies or do any appearances. He's lying. He's covering up for himself. I find this type of reporting so shameful. Dragging this man, maybe he did have an incident in that plane. Maybe he was a drunk. But maybe he's also fixed himself now and is trying to better himself. We're supposed to forever just ring the bell of shame to people because he's not out there talking about it for you and for your clicks. I find this so gross because the other side of this coin is the fact that she's doing fine. She's working. She's the goodwill ambassador. And now she's teaming up with Doug Liman, the director of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, for another spy thriller. Yes, Doug Liman, the brother of the judge in the Blake Lively trial. But she's still out there letting these sources of hers, it seems, put out Brad is desperate to have his kids all back with him. He's devastated because she now wants to move out of LA. She made it clear, I'm only here because of the divorce proceedings and now I'm out. And that's her right. The kids, the twins, Knox and Viv or something, are about to turn 18. And now that they are, she wants out of LA. I don't blame her. LA sucks. I got the hell out of there too. But still, the fact that she had to turn this so aggressive in the press and with the kids against them, like, I don't know what was there, but let's say there was one incident. That's all she's ever claimed. At a certain point, it's their father. And I would argue that help him, seek help, follow through and see, is it working? Don't villainize him forever. How does that help the kids to not have a father? Why was he drink? What was going on? There's so much more to this story than she will ever want to care to open her eyes to. And it doesn't mean he's perfect. It doesn't mean he didn't mess up. But who doesn't mess up? Now, again, I don't know what he did to his kids. That's not okay. And if she wants to come forward and make those allegations and whatever, I think she would have charged him if she had proof of this. This is all going to be her hearsay. And these kids who were very younger at the time, what their recollections are, what's been reinforced by Angelina Jolie. There's been stuff where bodyguards have come forward and acknowledged that there's text messages where, it's to me, based on my coverage of the source, it's shady the way she's attempted to alienate these kids against their father. And I just don't like that. I don't see enough here to vilify him the way she has. And the twins reportedly are close to him. It has caused a rift with some of the kids, not some of the kids. Some of his kids have called him out. The world's worst dad and an a-hole. I think it was Pax that did it. So there's clearly something that happened here. I'm not denying that. But the fact that it's all become so public, the fact that she's constantly trying to make him look like the worst father in the world, and not attempt to help protect the father, like Kelly Clarkson, I would argue. We just did a whole report about how, my God, what a woman, the way she's handled that. I don't know, this guy who passed away, what the truth is. Was he a good father? She's trying to make it clear that he was, and she's going to be there for them. But that's my point. Airing out the grievances of this like this, to me, the way she's done it, where she hasn't outright just said it, it's always through sources, through these People articles and things like this that always speak for her to constantly jab at Brad. And the winery thing is the perfect example of, my God, girl, you couldn't just let it go. Just sell the winery off to him or to a mutual partner he can agree on. Why did you have to make this even more complicated? It's like she wants to be in legal battle. It's like, make it easier and get him out of your life then if you don't want to be with this guy. It's wild the amount of things she's done to extend and make this harder. And that to me is why I ultimately have become Team Brad Pitt. Regardless of what happens, I see him, I do see him trying to change his ways. I do think he's done a good job. Gwyneth Paltrow's also called him dumb as a sack of bricks. That may be true too. I don't know. But all I know is he's not out there bad-mouthing Angelina Jolie. He's not out there doing any of this stuff. He's just trying to sell movies, make movies. And that to me is admirable. I don't like people going out there doing the opposite. One last note, today is my birthday. Yeah. And we're going to celebrate by throwing in a Popcorned Uncensored. For members here, and more importantly, members on our website, head on over to the news feed. Check out, if you're not a member, sign up. If you got the trial, hopefully it's still working. Join us today on the website or on here on YouTube for Popcorned Uncensored. We'll be starting at 12 Eastern. You'll also be able to catch the replay. Hope to see you guys there live. Celebrate my birthday with all of you guys. And let me know what you think in the comments down below regarding this story. Whose team are you on? Are you frustrated that we have to pick teams? Hit the bell, hit the thumbs up, leave your comments, help the engagement. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got a lot more coming your way here on Popcorn Planet.